go after the BRICS nations as well. But before we do that, here's a video from Kavernacle. This pro-Israel group is absolutely
might be
unhinged.
actually unaware of this, but there are various organizations online that pretend to fight against
I gotta pee.
Anti-Zionism, but they're usually fronts for like a pro-Israel agenda. Now, obviously, the Anti-Semitism League has been one of the biggest examples of this recently, where it did have some degree of respectability, where its pro-Israel bias, although obvious to a lot of people like myself, wasn't as obvious to everyone because, you know, they apologise for a lot of anti-Arab, anti-Islamic sentiment that they pushed in the past, but it's pretty clear, especially with the last year or so, that they are, you know, completely pro-Israel, even, you know, saying that Twitter has become a cesspool of anti-Semitism, which they are correct about, only to have a meeting with Elon Musk, who then declared more support for Israel, and then they're saying, nah, Twitter is actually pretty alright. Even though anyone who can tell you who has used Twitter, it's literally probably the most anti-Semitic place on the entire internet, but because there's a lot of people on it who are pro-Israel, including the head of Twitter, Elon Musk, apparently the ADL don't have much of a problem with that, even though he is allowing and he is actually paying people to be incredibly anti-Semitic. A couple of people on this list in front of us. Now, there's an organization that has been like pretty mask off for a while, and that is Stop Anti-Semitism. And you might be more aware of this one because it seems like they don't even really care about talking about mostly right-wing anti-Semitism, which is the real problem. On this, you have like Jackson Hinkle, right? Who used to be left-wing, but is now a fascist. These people are not left-wing. So when we talk about like left-wing anti-Semitism, who are we really talking about? I can't think of any significant left-wing figure who was actually anti-Semitic. Of course, Stop Anti-Semitism was rabid against Jeremy Corbyn, who, of course, groups like this think is an anti-Semite.
Like, anti-Semitism is antithetical to leftist values. So if you are an anti-Semitic person, if leftist values are born out of a materialist understanding of the world, anti-Semitism is purely you know, mystical, ideological. It is not like it is immaterialist. It's anti-materialist. You know what I mean? It's just not correct. That's why I get so mad. Like, on top of it being a vicious smear, oftentimes like deployed by people who want to deplatform me. What I get really frustrated with the likes of Myron, for example, from Fresh and Fit, this dipshit, who always is in my replies being like, bro, they're coming after you. Just admit that you're anti-Semitic. Is like, brother, why would I admit to something I'm not? Like, I don't agree with you. I don't know how to communicate this to people. You know what I mean? I just don't know. I don't know how to communicate this to Ethan. And I don't know how to communicate this to Myron either. Myron is anti-Semitic though. Yes, I know. That's my point. Yeah, he is anti-Semitic. And he's like, come on, yeah, just say Jews are coming after you. Just say it. Just say Jews are coming after you. They'll never stop coming after you. It's like, yeah, I don't give a who's coming after me, brother. Okay, I don't give a that like pro-Israeli accounts are routinely viciously smearing me as an anti-Semite. It doesn't change my analysis at all. Okay, it's just not right. It's not correct. Yeah, I saw this clip of
every
Fresh not wanting to be, not fit to be on the show anymore.
issue, every ailment in society, you could tie it back to feminism. Every single one. Feminism. Who pushed feminism? The Jews. Gloria Steinem, etc. Who pushed homosexuality?
Yeah, is funny, but also once again, you know, it's the Frankfurt School shit. The other right wingers like Jordan Peterson that have also trafficked this kind of sentiment supposedly do it in a more masked way, where they'll be like, oh yeah, it's the Frankfurt School that is responsible for all of the society's faults and failures. Both these motherfuckers deny the Holocaust, by the way. Yeah.
The Jews. See, these are the conversations they don't want you to hear, right? This is what I mean when I tell y'all, I would rather be honest with you guys and keep it 1,000 and say what the it really is.
I think this is like part hate and part like almost like a pathological obsession, if that makes sense. Can we say Fresh? No, dude. They're both cooked. Get out of here. Like, at some point, I think people just like look for answers to these complex problems And maybe some people are like, oh, I'm just gonna be edgy. Ooh, this is a secret thing that you can't say, so I'm just gonna keep saying it over and over again. And somewhere along the way, you just become this like rabid anti-Semite who genuinely does believe it.
Than having to bite my fucking tongue. I'm not biting my tongue for no fucking Jews, pigs, Asians, Pajeets, stinky Indians, that shit. Blacks, Arabs, even Arabs, I criticize them. I'm not biting my tongue. I call it like it is. Facts are facts, regardless of who says them. Anyway.
Damn, his hairline restoration also didn't work. He's balding again. That's crazy. That's crazy. Didn't he get like a hairline restoration and his shit still up? God damn. He did not mention white people. Well,
Ranto, we could keep going on with this stupid ass bitch. But I'm telling y'all, all the problems we have in society, you can always tie it back to feminism. And then you figure out who started feminism, all the isms, communism, feminism, Marxism, socialism. Who always starts it? The dreidel spinners. So, anyway, we'll continue on.
I just want to say, I love all my Jew friends. I love Jews. I love everybody. And I don't hate nobody.
Yeah, good. Yo, you salvaged it, bro. You saved it. You saved it, dog, for sure. Oh my God. What's wrong with these bro? This is holy shit. Just the hate spigot turned all the way to the max. That's the racism equivalent of no homo. Yeah. How the is there any sort of content from this? Like, how do you watch this and go, damn, they really spit in here?
So yeah, some bitch try to say, oh, well, like, you're so mean. Why are you such a bully? Whatever. I'm like, bitch, why are you on Overwatch? You need to be overwatching a kitchen and overwatching a sandwich for a man who's superior to you. That's probably overwatching your dumb ass whore ass. But you're over here playing with me, running a mercy, not healing me because you suck at the game and you got no awareness because, oh, which by the way is always too much because it's these sluts. Why not video games?
Facts. WWWWRN. Wyron. Yo, we have a real crisis of confidence in our youth, man. We really do. Young men that watch this shit and are like, yo, this guy's spitting facts. Like, your brain is so busted, dog. I don't know how to salvage this shit. It's so pathetic. It is so pathetic. This is just, how do you look at this and interpret it as anything but like a dude crashing out because he's just like a hateful little teenager, even though he's a grown ass man.
In the day, when I play video games, Halo 2, fucking lobby, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? Give that bitch the Timberland boot out the fucking lobby. But now these whores have taken over video games. Like, I'm fucking.
Someone said Wyronler. Is this guy not just a Fed? He was a Fed. He's a former Fed. How many dudes feel that because it's edgy or controversial that it's correct? Many do. That I think is a byproduct of just everything being online and you know, just only having a sense of community online. You're increasingly isolated from your fellow man in the real world. This is the type of behavior. This is the only way that you interpret. This is the only way you interpret like interpersonal relationships. Like, you just straight up think like, oh yeah, when someone is behaving like this, that means they're being real. What the fuck? This is terrifying. This is deadass my little brother's iPad background. He's fucking 10. I'm feeling bench PR tonight. Honestly, fuck girls, bro. They're so fake. Yeah, okay, this is a 10-year-old. What do you mean? It's not terrifying. They're fucking 10. Okay? That's just a 10-year-old. I would go so far as to say that's healthy for a 10-year-old. Okay? It's a normal part of being 10 and thinking girls are fucking icky and have cooties. Not every single man, not every single boy that thinks like girls have cooties is going to develop into one of these fucking freaks. Oh God. Also, yeah, why is a 10-year-old lifting and worrying about PRs? That is the terrifying part of this, not the fact that he said fuck girls, I don't care about them. Like, that is the actual terrifying part of this. Short video about young men loneliness. No, I'm not gonna watch that. Okay, but I told my mom I was anti-feminist as a girl when I was at 10 after watching one conservative YouTuber. Yeah, okay, look where you're at now, though. You know what I mean? Clearly, you grew out of it. That's my point. She was made for the playground. She belongs to the playground. She got cooties. What? A summary of Xi Jinping's governance of China? Yo, you're on crack, dude. I'm not going to watch that video. It's the way the older teenage edgy values have infiltrated into 10-year-olds when they should be enjoying their childhood.
fucking shocked. I haven't played in fucking years. Come back. Oh, I'm gonna pick this character. Bitch, what are you doing here? Why are you here? Why are women on video games? Why are they even streaming themselves play video games? They fucking suck.
I wonder what that person who praised Myron and hanged up with some certain neo-Nazi and gave certain phone number and is organizing a hate campaign against you. Yeah, I mean that dude is pathetic.
Every single gamer sucks. Female gamers suck. I fucking said it. They're trash. They got no awareness. Nothing. They suck.
They're saying call Nick, like Nick Fuentes. I do think it's a little scary. I think it's a little scary that there is like a network of these fucking rabid freaks out there, you know? But anyway, let's get back to Kavernacle's video on stopping anti-Semitism.
And that pretty much tells you everything you need.
What part of it is scary? I mean, the fact that there are entire networks of fucking right-wing charlatans out there that do not have any sort of moment of self-reflection, any sort of fear, any sort of social pressure that they feel from having these sorts of opinions and just like, you know, screaming it from the fucking rooftops. The fact that they can have a sense of community over these sorts of psychotic opinions is genuinely worrisome.
Need to know about them, but they do something every year called the Anti-Semite of the Year. And surprise, surprise, a lot of people who've won it every year haven't been right-wing fascists. They have been left-wing Congress people. And last year, even more like gross than usual, they picked Rashida Tlaib, which we're going to read about in a sec. But this year, they put out a list, one that Ethan Klein would probably like himself, where Hasan Piker is the first pick, Cori Bush, John Cusack, and Greta Thunberg. They're the front four. Four left-wing people. Afterwards, an actual fascist, Jake Shields, I don't know who Jess Natalie is, Jackson Hinkle, another fascist, Candace Owens, another fascist, Dan Bilzerian, another fascist, and Bassem Youssef, an anti-Islamist Egyptian comedian. On that list of the anti-Semites of the year, half of them are not anti-Semitic. They're just left-wing critics of Israel. And this is the dangerous thing groups like this do. They conflate all criticism of Israel as anti-Semitism. And of course what we're seeing recently, and I think even AOC voted for this bill, the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism actually includes comparing Israel to fascist Germany, right? So if you do that, that's actually anti-Semitism. And that's something that colleges have wanted to adopt recently, which is just so insane. Like, so insane to say, comparing the terrible actions of an apartheid state to the actions of this horrible fascist state in the 1930s and 40s, that's actually not allowed. And it would actually be racist against Jewish people to even make that comparison, even when, let's say, the Warsaw Ghetto and Gaza, you can make a very easy comparison between the two of them. So I want to talk about this today because it is absolutely insane. So here's their list, and I'm going to read you some of their justification for putting these people on. Like, obviously, a lot of them don't need any justification. Like, Jake Shields is just a fascist, right? So is Jackson Hinkle, the other people I said. I can agree that they are anti-Semitic. I cannot agree that, like, Rashida Tlaib last year swept the vote. This year, 10 new Jew haters are competing for the dishonour. Help us pick the top 3 to be announced on December 15th. So for people like Destiny and pro-Israeli people like Ethan Klein, I'm sure Hasan Piker would top the list for some bizarre reason. But it says here, Hasan Piker, a Turkish-American streamer, uses his Twitch platform to glorify terrorism and spread anti-Semitism. After 10/7, Piker defended Hamas, denying atrocities. Despite violating Twitch's community guidelines, he profits while spreading hateful.
I think it's funny that they're saying I denied murder. Like, yeah, I'm saying nobody died on October 7th. Like, that's an insane thing to say.
Propaganda. Cori Bush has cemented a reputation as a staunch anti-Semite for a disgraceful voting record. Ties to Jew haters like who, and support for pro-terror mobs on campuses, again, framing the pro-Palestinian peaceful protest.
Wait, why are they more understanding of Cori Bush's takes? Hours after the 10/7 massacre, she blamed Israel's apartheid policies instead of condemning Hamas. That's like what I did too. Following her re-election defeat, Bush scapegoated the Jewish community, specifically AIPAC, for her laws. She didn't scapegoat the Jewish community. She just correctly called out AIPAC, which spent like what, almost $30 million on that race. Like, that's crazy. I can't believe that that is anti-Semitic.
Test in universities as pro-terror mobs. She also blamed Israel's apartheid policies for 10/7. Following her re-election, Bush scapegoated the Jewish community, specifically AIPAC, for her loss. Is AIPAC the Jewish community? Like, how insane is this? A far-right Zionist lobby group, they're saying, is the Jewish community. Do these people honestly think this makes Jewish people safe at all? John Cusack has repeatedly spread anti-Semitic slander. His Twitter feed is rife with blood libel, conspiracy theories, and vile tropes, comparing Jews to white supremacists. Like, what is this bizarro land where you cannot make this comparison? Jewish people can be white. So you can be a white supremacist and be of the Jewish faith or the Jewish ethnicity. Yeah, sure. As an ideology, usually things like white supremacy don't include Jews, but what we're seeing in America right now, that sort of ideology does include them. And they're actually the heads of institutions in the government, especially with Trump, who push this stuff. Like Anthony Blinken, are you telling me that guy isn't a white supremacist, right? And how they're justifying everything that's happening to Palestinians. Of course you can make that comparison. It doesn't make you an anti-Semite to make that comparison about people like Netanyahu, Anthony Blinken, who do believe in this Western chauvinist supremacist ideology. Falsely claiming Israel created Hamas, well, that's not false. I mean, I'm pretty sure he probably didn't say that, but yeah, everyone knows that Israeli intelligence did help funding the early stages of Hamas to split the Palestinians against each other. Greta Thunberg has turned her climate activism into a platform for Jew hatred. She's joined the keffiyeh-clad protesters, voicing disdain for the Jewish state, from chanting "Crush Zionism" at protests to targeting Israeli Eurovision participants. Her activism now fuels anti-Jewish hostility. So, comparing all of this, comparing these people with the rest of them is so insane. So look, Jake Shields uses his massive social media platform to spread anti-Semitic rhetoric. And the thing is, right, this one is actually more brief and vague, despite the fact this guy is an actual anti-Semitic fascist, where I could tell you off the top of my head so much more stuff he said, but they seem to document the left-wing people the most, because they know the left-wing people have more credibility. The left-wing people are people who everyone listens to, right, about these issues because they make coherent arguments. So they're a bigger target because they threaten the legitimacy of Israel in Western politics more than these fringe figures who everyone can rightly see are pretty much fascists. So that is their, like, you know, insane list. And again, you see how they conflate any criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism, which, you know, how does that fight anti-Semitism? You're telling people all the actions of Israel are actually the actions of the entire Jewish faith and various different Jewish ethnicities, right? They all agree with what's going on. They all believe that is the true face of Judaism. And if you say a bad word about, I don't know, destroying Gaza, that means you actually hate Jewish people. So what do you want people to conclude if you put that in their mind? If you're saying that it's actually anti-Jewish people to be against all these atrocities in Gaza, what are you telling people? Are you telling people the real face of Judaism is all these atrocities? And how does that conflation make anyone safer? So if we go on their website, let's look at their past little graphics they made for people who won. So yeah, Rashida Tlaib, I think, is the only Palestinian politician in America. Obviously knows people who've been killed by the Israelis, and this is what they put out about her. She's the anti. Not any of the other people, not any of the horrible fascists we see in Western politics who are like legit fascists. No, it's the left-wing Palestinian woman. She's the biggest anti-Semite in the world. And again, Kanye West won it the year before. So Kanye West and Rashida Tlaib, they're equally as bad. And of course, you probably have seen a lot of people have actually wrote articles about how they are just as bad. And actually, I saw an article and I read it on...
And this year's Anti-Semite of the Year goes to Hasan Piker. Can you imagine? We all know it's bullshit, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating. Nah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, it's deeply unserious, and no one will look at this and go, "Oh my God, I can't believe how anti-Semitic Hasan is." No, it's not a real thing. It's literally run by one singular lady in Long Island, dude. Like there are institutions that do matter in this situation. Like, the closest that this became a thing was when Fox News wrote about it and the digital team. But even then, it's like, it's negatively polarizing. people do think you anti-Semitic, not gonna lie. No, nobody fucking thinks I'm anti-Semitic. My friends do. Yeah, your friends are fucking stupid. Like, yeah, you got some dumbass friends, brother. What do you want me to say? No serious person. You are never going to find someone who is like pro-Palestinian or legitimately pro-Palestinian, honestly pro-Palestinian, or like actually fucking progressive that will take that seriously. At most, they'll be like, wait, I actually heard some weird shit about Hassan being anti-Semitic. And then they'll, very quickly understand that that is not the case. Yeah, a couple of my friends who are Jewish conservative friends do. Okay, dude, if they're conservative, then there you go. Is New York City? So what? What do you mean? Conservatives don't exist in New York City? Are you kidding me? I live in Los Angeles. Trust me. I know what it's like to be surrounded by conservatives in a otherwise liberal enclave. Okay, a lot of Jewish people here are conservative. I know. No, that's not even true. No, I don't think a lot of Jewish people in New York are conservative at all. As a matter of fact, not even remotely conservative. It's entirely dependent on where you are.
I had a whole video about it. They said Jenna Ortega, for writing something critical of Israel, was actually worse than Kanye West. I'm not even joking. So let's have a look at this quick. I'm not going to play the audio. It's just like some weird song. So here are a few reasons why the Congresswoman is long overdue for the crown. As soon as she took office, she replaced Israel on an office map with Palestine. Is that anti-Semitic? Just saying, this whole territory used to be Palestine before an entire new country was built on top of it. So it keeps on going to say she was barred from entering Israel due to her support for BDS, like supporting boycotts on goods and businesses that do business in Israel. That's anti-Semitic. Again, as a result, she shared an anti-Semitic cartoon that depicts an age-old trope insinuating Jewish control. So Netanyahu and Trump are silencing Ilhan Omar and Tlaib. That cartoon is somehow anti-Semitic.
Wait, what? What is anti-Semitic about this? Are we now moving on? The pro-Israel groups are doing Islamic tropes where it's like any depiction of someone who is Jewish is instantly anti-Semitic. You cannot draw Jewish people like what? Just like the prophet. You are not allowed to draw. No cartoonish depictions, please. Like, this isn't to say that there aren't anti-Semitic drawings. Of course there are, obviously. Okay? This is not one of them, though. What the fuck?
Again.
Yeah, it's not like a Groyper cartoon or one of those like, ooh, these are the puppeteers type shit.
Not. Tlaib defended the BDS movement and suggested Jews prioritize Israel over the US, invoking the anti-Semitic trope of dual loyalty.
How much you want to bet she didn't do that? She definitely defended BDS movement, suggested Jews prioritize Israel over the US, invoking the anti-Semitic dual trope loyalty. I highly doubt that she actually said Jews prioritize Israel over the US. There is no fucking shot. You want to know why I know that there's no way she actually fucking said that verbatim? Okay? Because Rashida Tlaib is a Palestinian progressive politician. Anyone who is even remotely progressive, okay, knows very well that any kind of inference to that will be cynically utilized. It's not only untrue, but any kind of inference to that, it will be immediately fucking, you'll get a tremendous amount of pushback, even if that's not what you meant at all.
Which,
if you're Jake Tapper, however, you could say that every day. You could be like, yeah, no, all Jews love is Israel. If you fucking criticize Israel, you're anti-Semitic, dog. What do you mean? American Jews care first and foremost about Israel. You could say that all day, every day if you're pro-Israel, okay? And it's, by the way, untrue, but it doesn't even matter. People still say it.
Tlaib didn't do. This organization does it all the time, though. If you're tying being a Jew so much to the state of Israel, what are you saying to people? That all Jews have some sort of interest in the state of Israel, so they're not actually like loyal to whatever country they're in. Apparently, it's also anti-Semitic to vote against Iron Dome funding and also call Israel an apartheid state. She voted against the bill, and
it's anti-Semitic to not give weapons to Israel. Yo, this is amazing. Excuse me. No, I know I make this joke all the time, but like Estonia immediately comes to mind, and I'm sorry for the Estonian chatters, but it's just such a funny analog to be like, dude, the anti-Estonian hatred that you've demonstrated is unacceptable. Okay? Like no other country. No other country. It's so crazy. Like, what the fuck are we doing? It's like, imagine being like, yeah, this year Congress decided to lower the amount of weapons that we're sending to a valuable NATO partner in Estonia. And it's like, do you understand what you just did? You've been found guilty of Estonian hatred.
The bill asserted that Israel is not racist or an apartheid state. The bill also expressed rejection of all forms of anti-Semitism and xenophobia. So again, they're saying she's an anti-Semite because she thinks Israel is an apartheid state, something that is very well documented. It also says here she's an anti-Semite.
They forgot what country they represent. This is the U.S. where boycotting is a right and part of our historical fight for freedom and equality. Maybe a refresher on the U.S. Constitution is in order, then get back to opening up our government instead of taking our rights away. It's absurd that the first bill during the shutdown is legislation which punishes Americans who exercise their constitutional right to engage in political activity. Wait, what? How does this have anything to do with Jews? Yeah, she's saying American legislators that are not allowing, that are trying to fucking legislate away BDS are actually un-American. That's not how shit works in America. And it's additionally funny because she's also in the process of agreeing with a, Jewish person. But what the fuck? You can't even criticize. Dude, I love this. I love this so much because it turns into like everything is Jewish, actually. You don't understand. Like, if you're an American congressperson and you're criticizing your colleagues, you're actually criticizing Jews. That's right. What are you doing? What are we doing? Like, this is such a weird way where it just like loops back around and becomes indistinguishable from like the shit that Fresh and Fit says. Okay? Like, what are we doing? It's basically a handshake between the guys who are like everything in society is Jews. Jews did that. Okay? Jews control the Congress. Jews control this. Jews control that. And then you got like a fucking pro-Israel group being like, no, you don't understand. Actually, if you criticize Congress as a member of Congress, you're actually criticizing Jews because Congress is Jewish. What the fuck?
Because she accused Israel of bombing hospitals. This is back in 2023, right? Which we already knew they were doing this. There can be no argument they've done this now. So it's anti-Semitic that she told the truth. And remember, people like David Pakman were also saying this about her. Just absolutely gross shit. And again, she's been vindicated. She refuses to walk back the claim. Yeah, because she was right. She was right. And you're never going to walk back the claim that she's an anti-Semite for saying this, and she was proven right. So basically what you see on these videos is most of the people who win, like Ilhan Omar, mostly they're people who support BDS. Then you have one right-wing person in Kanye West on this list. So obviously, Stop Anti-Semitism is if you're putting mainly left-wing Muslims or Muslim.
By the way, every single person is still a person of color. I did notice that when I first saw the list. Most are women of color. One actual anti-Semitic person is a bipolar a black man. Just interesting.
People's.
I'm about to be the first white man to win this goddamn thing, baby. Let's go.
On your anti-Semite
finally some fucking representation
of the year list, purely because they oppose Israel.
Also putting a fucking like an out and about neo-Nazi next to fucking Gigi Hadid. Dude, be for fucking real, dog. That's crazy. Like, she's just a Palestinian. That's it. That is her crime. Okay? Her crime is being a Palestinian. I love that.
Where the only person who's won for actually being an anti-Semite is Kanye West. So what is this doing to people? What is this making people think? The only way you can be anti-Semitic is actually be against Israel. Loads of other stuff, now that's fine. Like, be a Christian Zionist who believes you should support Israel so they can start Armageddon to bring about the end times where Christians will ascend into New Jerusalem and Jews won't be allowed unless they convert to Christianity. That's cool, actually. That's cool. Not anti-Semitic. It's these people who don't like a colonial project like Israel being built on top of their homeland, like Rashida Tlaib, right? So, again, why this is so depressing for like anyone who actually cares about fighting against anti-Semitism is because it feels like we can just never turn back the clock now. It feels like now, because they're conflating all this stuff, like anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism, people just don't give a shit, and people are just going to say whatever, and that's what these organizations do. If you convince people that being critical of Israel is actually anti-Semitism, Why will people think anti-Semitism is bad then? If you're seeing all the news coming out of Gaza and
Yeah.
Lebanon, you're seeing
100%.
the face of Israel, the true face of Israel, and the whole world is seeing it.
That's the part of this process that is so devastating for people who do actually care about combating anti-Semitism. These groups basically make it impossible. They make it fucking impossible. It's so fucking frustrating. They dilute it. It's like claiming, Ben Shapiro did this to me once. During the Black Lives Matter protests, I was talking about how if you're wondering where like American domestic police, like American domestic law enforcement learned the tactics of kettling and corralling, they learned it from the IDF. And Ben Shapiro said it was blood libel to claim that the Israeli occupying force had trained American local police departments and taught them some of their tactics that they use on Palestinians in the West Bank. He said it was blood libel. Bro, that's just fact. That is a fact. You can't dilute blood libel by saying factually accurate things are blood libel. Like, that's an insane thing to say. How long ago was that? Back in, I think it was like 2020. I mean, it was when the Black Lives Matter protests were happening. Yeah, and he retweeted someone, I think it was like Neon Ass Taster or whatever, Neon Taster, who said it was blood libel. He retweeted that person, and I replied to it with, what was it? I think it was like, I forget. It was like a Jewish website that covers, I think it was like the Jewish Library or something, that has written extensively about the open partnership between Israeli occupying forces and like American local police departments in the aftermath of 9/11. And I was like, here he is doing blood libel. He's not going to the kick event anymore, by the way. Oh, that's good. I'm glad. See, look, I'm vindicated. For those who are saying he's doing a right-wing pivot, I'm vindicated. Bro, what the fuck? I had no idea it was a steak event. Steiny recruited me for this. All he told me was it was a hustler casino. I'm sure he didn't fucking know, dude. That would be beyond the point of insanity if he was just like, I'm tight with Kick. His next post was about you. Wait, what? He posted saying you were going to talk shit and call him mentally ill. No, I mean, I don't think his mental health is great, but I don't say that in a shit talking way. Yeah, it was the Jewish Virtual Library. Bringing back all the classic blood libels. If you have BLM in your bio and shocked by the kettle and corral strategy you saw the American police engage in where they push protesters in the pockets and gas them, you should know they learned that from the IDF. Bringing back all the classic blood libels. Can't believe the Jewish Virtual Library is doing blood libels, shaking my head. What the fuck is that shit in the Explore section? Nick Fuentes and Destiny, an alleged leaked video. Yeah, I think someone leaked a lot of sex acts that Destiny is engaged in, including sucking a dude off or some shit. And people are saying it's Nick Fuentes' penis that he's sucking. I added his other stories to the Imgur if you scroll down. Obviously, I'm not going. Apparently, Steiny didn't know either. Hustler Casino had poker nights before. This is the first time it's been sponsored by Steak. I can't catch a break over here. Prediction, Hasan will read from a chatter I played in a Steak event and uncritically accepted while saying something about me being mentally ill. I mean, I was surprised when I first encountered it. That's cool, though. I think he misses me. Yeah, he... One thing that I have noticed is that he is just always wrong. It's so funny. He accuses you of uncritically accepting info about him while he posts stories about you nonstop. I don't think you've posted one story about him. Does he want to fuck? No, this is a very common Hasan derangement syndrome symptom, okay? You did that before his post, and also he said 3 days ago he wouldn't mind pivoting to Stay for XU money. I just don't, I don't believe it. Yeah. I saw the announcement, the official announcement, and I said, damn, that sucks. What's the difference between accepting a gambling sponsor from Stake or from some other site? I mean, I get why it's a little bit different when you're doing at least like poker. Prediction after you reacted to the news. Yeah, you were on an official announcement, big dog. Yeah, I mean, but now that I know you've pulled out, I'm happy that you haven't like gone that far down the goddamn rabbit hole. But as far as what do you call it? Like poker, as far as like poker goes, like I don't do it. I've said no to a $800,000 poker sponsorship before, but overall it's a little bit different still because you're playing against other people usually, even though luck obviously still plays a role in it. I think there's like, if there's a tier of like worst shit possible, I would place completely unsanctioned, completely unregulated crypto gambling casinos built out of an island nation on purpose at like the tippy top of it. And I would place like poker at the bottom of the harm tier. I remember when the Fed posted about you at 3 a.m. and called you the F word in the gym. He has been evoking that energy for the past 2 months. Yeah. The mighty have fallen. The mighty have fallen, unfortunately. For crime reacts, when a killer thinks he's a genius,